Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Britain spent over $5 billion in purchasing gold from Russia last year. Let's explore. Yes, when John sent this to me from RT.com, I was quite shocked. I had no idea that the United Kingdom was buying any gold from Russia, much less spending over $5 billion and increasing their buying from Russia. You know, we talk about all of these reserve banks accumulating gold, but very rarely do we hear about how they acquire it or from what nations they buy. Well, this is an example of how some of these central banks are accumulating and purchasing gold and adding them to their Tier 1 asset holdings as determined by the Bank of International Settlements. This from RT says that sales of Russian gold abroad jumped eightfold last year to $5.7 billion worth, with almost all of that volume purchased by the United Kingdom. According to customs data seen by RBC Business News outlets, gold exports to Britain have grown more than 12 times in terms of value to $5.33 billion. Of course, we have seen an uptick in gold price as of late until literally the last day. It kind of pulled back, but still it's up from where it was even, several months ago. Supplies to the United Kingdom accounted for 93% of all Russian gold exports. 12 other countries, including Kazakhstan and Switzerland, bought only $409 million worth of Russian gold. It could be that, with the rise of gold prices, of course this was last year, but they have kind of gone up. It could be that Russia is taking the cash and utilizing it for other uses because they're not in as good a shape as other nations out there, and of course they need to pay their bills as well. So perhaps that was the precipice for selling the gold. In physical terms, gold exports from Russia to the United Kingdom in 2019 increased 11 times, from 10.4 tons to 113.5 tons. Almost the entire volume of deliveries to the United Kingdom is gold bullion. Taking into account the London Standard, an ingot weighing about 12.5 kilograms, it turns out that Russia delivered at least 9,000 ingots to the United Kingdom last year. Interesting. Wonder how those were delivered. In addition to gold, Russia also increased the export of platinum. Doubled to $936 million worth, and silver 2.5 times to $100 million worth to the United Kingdom. So that's interesting. So they're, sending over platinum and silver even to the United Kingdom. Experts say, in general, the scale of gold inflows to the United Kingdom most likely reflects global trends in demand for the precious metal and the country's traditional role as a center for its trade and storage. According to Oleg Shibanov, a professor of finance at the New Economic School in Russia, there was certainly a Brexit factor which could affect British investors, along with many other uncertainties such as the U.S.-China trade war. And I will not, we shouldn't discount that, Russia needs to meet its government obligations and its spending. And, and I think that is a factor that is not being mentioned in this article. But I think that is a part of it because, what about the ruble? What about their situation? Is it, some people have said that Russia, typically doesn't have the debts, the big debts that we do here in the United States. But doesn't mean just because you don't have as much debt, doesn't mean that you have as much resources or the ability. Of course, who would they be indebted to, and how would they get through it? Do they do quantitative easing over there? How does the ruble compare to the dollar? And there's other factors such as that to consider. And but obviously, there is the thing with the U.S.-China trade war and Brexit now being having occurred. How will that affect buying of gold from Russia from here on out? Because again, this happened while Brexit was still had not been in effect yet, at least totally. Russia has continued filling its coffers with gold, having added almost 7 tons of the precious metals to its reserves in January. The country's total gold holdings amounts to 73.2 million troy ounces, or 2,276.8 tons as of February the 1st, and are worth more than $116 billion according to the latest data from the Central Bank of Russia. Keep in mind that we have, here in the United States, I think 8,000 some odd tons of gold stored. Some people believe it's not there. You may remember I did post a video about Russia showing its gold reserves. We could see theirs. They allowed media to come in and photograph the bars there. So it's interesting. I believe our government should be a little bit more transparent in its gold holdings to assure its citizens and also show its strength to the nations around the world. But I digress there. It's very interesting to see how even as Russia is selling a lot of gold to the United Kingdom, they are continuing to add quite a bit to their coffers. Are they mining it? Are they buying it from other nations? Very interesting. It's a fascinating story here. And again, I had no idea because you really don't hear much about other nations selling to their neighboring nations or nations around the world gold or any other precious metal. The fact that we found out that they're selling platinum. Now, that does make sense because Russia is one of the few places that produces platinum and mines it in quantities. And also, I believe South Africa as well, although there's a lot of palladium mining down there as well. But so that certainly doesn't make sense, but to sell gold into this amount is quite telling for sure. So what are your thoughts about this? And do you know of any other nations that are buying and selling gold to each other? Or we hear about repatriation of gold. We're hearing more about that, like Poland and other nations wanting to repatriate their gold for a myriad of different reasons. But other nations buying in gold, and why would they do that? Why would the other nations sell the gold? I'm speculating that perhaps the United Kingdom or the Russia is selling gold because they need to in order to pay down some of their obligations and the like for their services as a nation. But there could be a myriad of other reasons why that would take place. And how is this assayed? How is it tested? These big bars, how do they make sure that each and every one of them is in fact genuine? Are they going to drill down to the center or different spots in each bar, or are they going to just selectively assay a certain one? Or can they scan them somehow to see if there's any other material inside? There's a lot of different factors. Security is a big deal when you're talking about something of such great value and worth inside of a small space, such as you see there in this photograph. But fascinating indeed. So post your thoughts below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe. Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Hi, this is Gary calling you from Patient Care Service. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Who are you calling from?
Patient Care Service of Medicare, sir.
Oh, good. Medicare. Very good. Yes, I need help. I want Medicare for me. Not all, but just for me.
We are calling you because you have been selected to receive a very safe at no cost to use totally undercover your Medicare insurance, okay?
Okay.
May I know, do you have any kind of pain in your body, like your back, shoulder, your knee sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes there's some pain. There's some pain in my arm. There's some pain in my rear end, up my rear end. There's some pain in the ears. Yeah.
Okay. When was the last time you went to a doctor office?
Doctor office or just the doctor?
Doctor office, sir.
Yeah, I drove by it the other day. Yeah. I went by there the
Okay.
other day. I drove by it the other day. Yes.
Have you talked to your doctor the pain having your?
Am I talking about sustained what?
Have you talked to your doctor about the pain that you are having?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I'm talking to you about it. Can you help me with it?
Yes, sir. I'm giving you a braces, a back brace, and your knee brace, which
Okay.
cures your pain, and you don't need to pay a single penny for this. Okay?
Not a single penny. Will it cost $1 or more than $1?
No, sir. You don't pay a single penny at no cost, sir.
Right, I understand.
Okay?
You said there's no pennies that will be involved. How about dollars? Or will there be dollars
No,
involved?
sir.
Or cents?
No, sir. You don't pay a single penny. Not a single penny.
Right, but what about dollars? Do I pay a single dollar?
No, sir.
How about silver? Will it cost me silver? Do I have to pay you in silver or gold?
No, sir. No, sir. It's totally undercover your Medicare insurance only.
Medicare
Okay.
insurance. I have to pay them. I have to pay the Medicare insurance, right?
Yes.
Do I pay them in Bitcoin or do I pay them in seashells or how do I pay them? In pennies? Guess he doesn't like the form of payment. Oh, well.